Yes, I am still here and still working on this kit. I wanted to say that I am sorry for the long intervening time, intermission, if you will, to doing this. If you're following along and you know what's coming up, step 9 here is not too bad, just a little fiddly. But starting with step 10 and moving forward, it's going to get pretty detail crazy and a lot of work. And I took a look at it in the past and was kind of chewing on it in my head, and I just went, I need a break, need to step away. So I did. So I'm going to come back and try and tackle the rest of this. Once we get all the individual wheel sets done that go in here, I believe there's 10 of them, that will basically be pretty much what's left of what's doing, but it's going to be some work. So if you're building the kit, prepare yourself. On the other hand, I'll be honest with you, for the amount of money that people pay for this kit, you are getting a lot of hours and a lot of detail for it. So it's really hard to sit and go, this is too much, this is too crazy of a kit, when you're getting your money's worth out of it. You're getting exactly what you're paying for. All right. That said, let's dig into what we got. So a couple of questions that have come up that I wanted to address is some people had asked as far as the round surface. We'll take these toe shackle points. When I'm pulling these off and you're going to have the attachment point at the top and the bottom, how do I deal with the point at the top? Well, what I end up doing, rather than using a knife, which is going to cut a big chunk out, is I'll take a file, something that has a flat face on it. This is a triangular file, could be a square file, or your typical flat file, just not like a rat tail file or a round file. And just go through and I will work on that right there, just like that. And I'll check the profile to see if it's okay, if I haven't done anything, but it comes out pretty good. Usually if there's anything extra, it looks like wear and tear on the real deal. So that's how I do rounded edges, and that keeps me from taking too much out with the knife. Couple of other things. When you're choosing, or when you're doing the reflective lights that they have on the sides of the trailer here, at this point they would give you a choice between GP3.4 or GP3.5. First thing is, GP3 is the clear parts for the trailer. GP2 is the clear parts for the cab. And as far as that goes, I chose style 4 for the cab, so I'm going to put style 4 on the trailer. Technically, you don't need to do that. You can mix and match between the cab and the trailer. However, all the light style, the light style you choose, they should all be the same on the trailer. And whatever you choose for the cab, they should all be the same in the cab. To the best of my knowledge, they don't intermix the two styles. It's one or the other. I don't know if that's because they're made differently, sit differently, or vastly different time frames, but that's what I've noticed. So anyways, like I said, I chose style 4. I've also got a little baggie that I put trailer parts on it for, because I am not finishing this off, and even if I were, I want to have my clear parts, but I gotten to the stage to where I need those. So all I'm doing is taking and putting them in, including the lenses for the taillights as well. Everything is in this baggie now, so I don't have to go looking around on the sprues or clean anything up. I know exactly where they are when I'm done painting, or when I need to paint a certain part. That's where they're at. All right, that said, here's our assembly up to this point, when we last left. And we're not adding a whole lot. The toe shackles on the back, the lights on the back, and then all of these tie-down points on the side. So what I want to do, and then one piece of piping that goes in right here. So all I want to do is go in and glue on these extraneous pieces first, meaning the lights, the toe shackles, this piping, get that out of the way. Then we're going to build the 10. And yes, I said 10. So you have to go through all 10 of the P sprues and get all the parts off. We'll make the 10 tie down points. So this goes on here with the little trident or Christmas tree or whatever you want to call it part going towards the center. Like so. It does fit in there, but it fits in there very positive, and it's supposed to, there's a little notch on this side that will tuck underneath this piece here, but once you get it in, you got to kind of twist this carefully to line it up. Just to make sure everything's square and straight, or else you end up, yeah, there you can kind of see again, there's the little notch. I just want everything in the direction it's supposed to go. Now that I've got that in there, I'm going to put a little glue to make a positive connection. That's done. Here on the back, same thing. Right here and here are where these shackle points go. Sometimes forceps aren't your friend, and I did not positively check these before, so there we go. And I put a little extra glue in there because they, even though these look to be really nice and flat, and you clean them out and scrape them to get the seam off and all that, there might be a little bit of an angle to them for when they're molding these to get them to pop out of the mold easy with and remain on the sprue. So a little bit of extra glue will, there we go, really get it in there. We'll soften that plastic up and create a nice strong bond. All I want to do really is make sure that it's flat against that plastic piece and it's straight. Then those two things may not exactly be the same thing, so just kind of, I'm holding it over the instructions and just kind of looking down this way, and then I'll check it this way. Looks really good. Next is the lights, and they have the special spot to be put in. Now, I don't always like to fat finger fumble it, but as you may have noticed, this is not only tight quarters, but just in general, a kind of a tight spot to do this. Just keep working with your tool till you get her in there, being mindful of other parts you may have put on. Don't disfigure anything too much, but there it is. And then I'll put a little glue on behind it to make sure everything goes in. Okay, why do I glue it twice? Because one, I want the glue to be able to grab the part, to kind of make this sticky already, so then these parts go on. And then once I've got the part on, I want to glue it again to make sure that it glues. Okay, there we go. And then I'm just making sure again that they're straight out the back. I mean, they're going to have a little bit of wiggle in real life. They're not always going to be perfectly square, plumb, and level. So these right now will be well fused. I'm not worried about those at all. I've got my other piece up there. Now I've got to work on my photo etch and my tie down spot, so I can set this off to the side and not have it hanging around where I might break something or knock it off or whatever. So these are pretty much as simple as they look. You take a tie down ring, push it through so that it looks like this. Light gluing, and one is done. Keep on going. Now, do they go the other way? What do I mean by the other way? Because if you look at it, there's a little, on one of the faces, there's a little, probably supposed to represent a rivet or a bolt head or something like that. Can you do them backwards? And the answer is no, not really, because if you, and this is taxing the limits of the video, but if you look at it, the notch in the plastic right here, that would be for the arms on either side of this, go in here to go this way. I mean, there's an actual divot in the plastic. If you go the other way, will that fit? Yes, but things are going to be kind of wonky. Let me show you. I'm going to put this in. This is going in wrong, and as you can see, it doesn't want to fit that way. It wants to go 90 degrees down. I'm having a hard time getting it to go that way because the cut, and that's about the best I can do is a 45. This cut right here, for this to swivel up and be level, means that it's pushing it down too far in that plastic. Versus when I go this way, it wants to be that direction. And ultimately, this is going to be hanging down like this. Well, like that. So that's just the way that it wants to be. Naturally, it's you'd have to break the parts P33 to get this to go any other way. So if you're building mindlessly, like watching TV sometimes or have something on and not fully paying attention, the only way you're going to be able to get this to go straight is one way. Apparently I didn't clean out all the plastic when I clean this up. And be aware, I'll show you here in a moment, be aware that there is some flash on these parts, in particular P34 in that opening. There we go. So right along here on the bottom, I guess I didn't get that little bit, but these have a little bit of flash in there. Just keep an eye on it. It's not terrible noticeable, but you don't want to build this, paint it all up, and then look at it and go, oh, why didn't I get that? So there's a nice heads up for you. And I'm just putting a little glue in the bottom right under here, and that gets everything situated. And the nice thing is that everything falls nicely into place. So like I said, you gotta try to screw this up. That's a nice thing for those of us that are not always 100% paying attention. So just a little, and I put that glue on this top edge rather than, oh, I'm sorry, geez. Keep forgetting to put it in the camera lens. Anyways, I put the glue in on here rather than on here. Just, it seems to pull it down nicer. All right, trying to keep this in your view. Oh, there it went. And sometimes you will drop a part and it'll fall on your finger and it's so light you won't even know it's there. So what have I been doing all this time? Well, I've been working on other kits, conversions, a lot of 3D work. You know that I did the tank for the fuel tanks for the cab of, or the power unit of this kit. So as a complete aside, Andy's Hobbies came out with a 16th scale M113 that I have been waiting forever for somebody to do a kit. It's a combination between Andy's Hobbies and Tacom. So that came out, and I want to do certain things because I worked with M113s in my time in the military. And I noticed a few little deficiencies that I wanted to change up, so I made For example, new tie downs, because I think that would be a lot easier to use the tie downs the way I did them than the way that they came in the kit. Or new tracks. So the kit tracks are okay-ish. I wanted better, and I also wanted the more common tracks, the post-Vietnam tracks. So I did it, and that ate up a lot of time and helped me to recover if that's what I needed. Anyway, so I have now glued all those together. Gonna let those dry for just a titch while we do the photo etch. And the first reflector is a photo etch part that gets put on a photo etch part right here. Got to fold those ends under, which is what I'm going to do now. But to do it, okay, gotta get it lined up on my little photo etch bender. And this can be hard. I mean, as the days go by, my eyesight is getting a bit worse. I'm fighting getting bifocals because I'm a grumpy old man. Or so I'm told. Now, one thing that I found is I'm also using this X-Acto blade. So I've been using the, let me grab it here, regular double-sided, I can never remember what they're called. Anyways, razor blade. Double-sided razor blade. They work great. I can get a good grip. But sometimes if I need to reach in, I will now use this. This is one of the ones that I've used. It's old. Go in there and fold it up. So I guess I'm gonna I'll use my standby. But this is good for this. But it's just bending photo etch like usual. Okay. For some reason it didn't want to lift on this side. Still doesn't, even though it's loose. There we go. And I've had some people say, oh, well, this isn't all that critical. You don't really need to use a photo etch bender. Just, you know, grab something, fold it up. I've done that in the past too, but this time I wanted to get back in with the folder. So there, I've folded that up like so. Same thing on this this part. Now this is the one that would normally get the clear piece that we put in the baggie. So this is just going to be folded up and placed on the kit. And I'm putting these on because they are right there on either side. However, if you feel like putting them on is somehow going to get them knocked off all the time and cause problems, don't put them on. Only because we're near the end of the kit and I've looked ahead in the instructions am I doing this. Because otherwise I probably would be of the mind of, you know, I should just leave these off, put them in the baggie as well, call it good. And by the way, these parts are sided. So SB3 and SB2, I believe, yep, SB2, SB3, they have to go on either side because they're basically short and long. They've got this little cutout on opposite sides versus where they're folded. So, and the same goes for the other piece that gets folded too. It's SB14 and SB13. So be aware of that. I don't mind if you decide that that little notch isn't going to make a difference and you can put this wherever you want. More of what I'm doing is just wanting to make sure that you understand that that exists. And it's a attention to detail point. Same thing here. There's a little notch cut out here on the short end versus the long end, and how that all lines up, and that's how the difference falls between those as well. I have not put these on yet, so I don't know if there's any physical limit on the model that warrants that, and there may be. It might be that you can't fit them otherwise. But I just wanted to get back into it. Of course, it doesn't hurt that it's crazy freezing outside either. So all the photo etch bending is done. Now I need to use a little bit of super glue to glue SC5 to SB3 and SB2. And I will just off screen put a little glue on a piece of plastic and then dip it over with my in this case I'm going to use my hobby knife, and just to try and show you guys. So I've got my forceps holding it. It's nice and generally flat. There we go. But I'll just put a little glue in there and then pick that up and put it in there. So I've got a little glue in the back of my blade. Break the tension, put that in there. And then I'm going to say one thing about this kit. I don't know why they decided to add these as extra pieces, because there's no alternate piece to put in there. I guess it does add a little bit more relief to it and make it stand out, but that's seems like a touch of unnecessary work. And the part doesn't move. You don't find those cockeyed on the real thing. There's screw holes in that, and it goes in one spot. And that's it. So you may find the whole assembly, meaning this entire piece, cockeyed on the real thing. But you're not going to find this plastic reflector on the real thing cockeyed. It's just not the way that it works. Now what I'm doing is scraping away. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm scraping away some of the super glue so that it doesn't dry on there, but I will also go through with the debonder later and make sure that that's all out. So it looks oh so pretty. All right, so we've got all of our parts ready for gluing on. So I'm gonna get our trailer back right here. So going by the instructions, it is, because there's no positive points for this, it's on around this third rib from the front. This is what I'm calling the front because your rear lights and all that are over here. It's a third rib or main crossbar from the front, one on each side. Now, depending on the side, you put the photo etch part with the notch in it that's going to get your clear reflector on the front. So on this side here and this side over there. So be aware that parts have to be, you have to put the right thing on the right side. And like I said, the notch, so I have the notch right here. Seems kind of, it seems kind of. It seems like you would have, okay, well actually the answer's right there. The thinner piece of metal which in this case for SB3 has the notch in it, goes down. So the notch goes away from this part right here. So it's going to go like that. This part right here is going to go the same thing with that notch towards the outside. So notch toward the outside, notch toward the outside. Take it for what it's